Well, it's Mercury retrograde, and so here we are. Of course, I started the video and it stopped recording. So here's where we're at, Pisces. You got blessings and trust. And this energy, it just keeps coming out like this, where, and you got that moon card. It feels like you are in a bit of a space of an unknown, where you don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, or things are not completely clear to you. They haven't completely revealed itself. You might be starting to get some idea, or, be kind of moving in a direction, or like have an aim, but not really know how it's all gonna just totally pan out. It's okay. It's saying, trust. There is a lot of good energy coming towards you, and it feels like a lot of blessings. Even with this card, I specifically did pick up on these like cherry blossoms or dogwood blossoms. It's giving me spring of next year. Hey, Bhakti, Box, what seriously are you talking about? What are you talking about, Bubba? Come here. It's giving me like spring of next year specifically. Also, the yellow bird, I feel this energy of a canary around that. It does feel like you will be using your voice, or you will be like speaking like dreams into reality, or it's like our words and our voice are very powerful, and they do reverberate through the universe. They do have frequency. They do matter. They do have energy. And it feels like there is this energy of, it's almost like the confidence to sort of call things out before they happen. Which I think I've picked up on this energy before a time or two in your readings lately. So very interesting. So definitely, watch your words, be very honest, speak your truth. Or don't say anything, kind of energy, kind of is the vibe that I'm getting here. Then you have this breaking trail and this staying focused energy. It says a breakthrough is at hand, and the staying focused says hold the course. We talked about in, other readings this week about this unknown energy, and again, we're seeing it here. And I feel like with the staying focused, whenever we're stepping into a space where we don't know exactly what it holds for us, we don't have a real super clear picture of what this entails. We can either say, oh my gosh, I'm stepping into the darkness. I don't know what's out there. I'm afraid. Or we can say, oh my goodness, it's a blank slate and I'm stepping into it and it holds unlimited possibilities. I wonder what the universe is going to surprise me with, or reward me with, or, fill up my blank slate with, right? And so it is important how we're viewing this, or what perspective we have on this. And also that we are, staying focused on kind of like the thing that makes us feel the best to think about. And beyond that, it is a future focused energy. We're not looking to the past. We're not looking to our sides. When we start doing that, we start to get lost in it. And especially when we're going through a period of darkness, the easiest and the best way to navigate that space that I have found in my own life is to really focus on the light. And when we focus on the light grows, the light expands, the light gets closer, the light then becomes our picture, it becomes our reality, it becomes, the outcome, right? And I see that energy here with the staying focused. You see how it's like dark? He's in like kind of a dark room, but then out this window and through this telescope, it's light and it's magical and it's beautiful, and there's stars and colors and lightness. If he took his eye off of this telescope and he looked around the room, all he would see is darkness. He wouldn't see the light. And so it's just giving me this vibe of, hey, you know, bring your focus back. Bring your focus back. Every time it starts to go into the fear or into the I don't know or into the it's just dark around me, you know, just bring it back to this is the outcome I want. This is what it feels like. This is who's there. This is what happens. This is how it all works out. You know, just bring the energy back to that point. You are very close to a breakthrough. You do have breaking trail. A breakthrough is at hand. I do also feel with the breaking trail, you're going into a space that you have not ever been before. I also feel that way because you did get cycles and action with the unicorn deck. And, you know, there is this feeling with this cycles card of kind of being stuck in a loop of something that really never nets the result that we want. This unicorn looks kind of forlorn. You know, it looks kind and sweet and compassionate and gentle and loving. And it has butterflies all around it, but it looks sad and hollow and like, you know, kind of like the Velveteen Rabbit is the vibe it gives me of, you know, like that Velveteen Rabbit was really well loved, but, you know, it had been repaired many times and it had been through many adventures and a lot. And, you know, I don't know, you know, we reached the end of it feels very much like the ability to be everything for everyone else and not ourselves is kind of the vibe that it gives me. That doesn't have to be for everyone, but it's like the giving tree and it ends up a stump that has nothing left to give, other than maybe, you know, if someone wants to sit on the stump. But it kind of gives me that, like, where you have exhausted yourself or your resources or what, just, I don't know, what you can offer a certain situation without getting what you need back. And this cycle is about getting what you need. You see how the sun is coming through the trees and the sun is seeking the unicorn and lighting the unicorn up. You see the difference here? And it's like the happiness is coming to you. The clarity is coming to you. The light is coming to you. And it's coming to you in the darkness. It's coming to you, you know, in a space where light might not really have a good chance to get through. It's finding its way through. Its aim and its purpose is directed at you. It's going to find you no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. It's coming for you. Happiness, joy, clarity, lightness, you know, energy. It's like coming towards you. So let's see. And with this action card, it is giving me this energy of, you know, we're closing out a cycle, right? Where we have nothing left to give. It's worn us out. We're tired. We're still compassionate and soft and loving. And we've gone through, you know, many transformations and we've had many experiences that have really changed us. But this is about us. And with this action energy, it feels like, okay, here's where we begin the cycle. Here's where we brought you to the point where, you know, all the hat, the dog, and the thimble are lined up on the go block on Monopoly, and it's your role. Here you go. It's time to take action. It's time to start that new adventure. Do you see what I'm saying? All right. So let's dive into the tarot. Wow, High Priestess in the center of your spread. Okay, wow, Pisces. So, you start off your reading with this Emperor in reverse. You know, there are certain cycles in life where we can make an okay decision and end up getting a huge prize from it. And then there are cycles in life where we can make the smartest, wisest, best decision in the entire universe and get nothing for it. It's just the way it is. And it feels like relational to timing and what else is happening. It's like where you can't help it, you're just winning, or where you can't help it, you're just losing kind of energy. I don't know how to say this, but with the Emperor in reverse, it seems like kind of no matter what you did, or no matter what you tried to do, or no matter how you sort of learned, grew, made wise decisions, weighed your options, it's just almost as if it just didn't net the results that you hoped for, or it's even giving me this vibe of like that you should have gotten considering what you were doing or what you were working with. So I don't know what that's about, but it's just sort of like that was the day and age, that was the time, that was what was happening at that time, like that's just the energy. And it was not empowering, obviously. And it may have even made you question your ability to make decisions, or your own sort of wisdom, or even it could also be that it made you question the world or the universe, or do things really ever work out? Or, or sometimes this can even be like the feeling that the haves have it and the have-nots can't get it. It's like no matter what decision I make, no matter how hard I work, no matter what I do, like it's my power isn't in my control. Like it's not, I can't just work hard and be fair and do the right thing and expect to win. So I don't know what that is about, but it is just feeling like that is sort of the energy or the period of time that you were in for some period here. Yes, okay. Yeah, so this, being clarified, the Emperor in reverse, being clarified by the Four of Cups, it's like, the universe is just passing you by. It's like, kind of like, where's my cup? And, normally with the Four of Cups, there is this energy of they're not seeing what's right in front of their face. There is this opportunity, but with this Four of Cups, it's giving me like, if he was to reach out and try to grab this cup from this hand, the hand would move with the cup. Like he wouldn't be able to reach it. Like, I don't know what that's about, but that's just giving me that feeling, okay? Of like, there's almost nothing you can do. It's just not your day. It's just not your time. It's just everything around you, or everything in the universe is not set up for you to win at this time, and it's kind of like just, acknowledging it and accepting it and saying, what is this trying to teach me? how can I best use this time, since I'm not supposed to make progress, since I'm not supposed to, you know, be the winner right now. What can I learn from this? How do I sort of make the most of this time? It's also with the Fool card on the bottom of the deck. It's telling me, you know, this time doesn't last forever. There will be, and this may even be something that you're telling yourself. Of like, this will pass, this will change, I will get another opportunity. With the Fool card also here, it is giving me like, I need to move through this space without having a lot of burdens to carry from it. In other words, I can't take on these feelings of despair, or, you know, it's not really despair, but it's like I just can't take on the weight of anger, resentment, guilt, shame, regret. Like, I kind of just have to say, this isn't my moment, this isn't my place, this isn't my time, and sort of be at peace with that, be okay with that, and know that my time will come. Kind of a vibe. You guys do have a lot of fours coming out here. You have the Four of the Emperor, the Four of the Cups, and the Four of the Pentacles. I don't know why I'm saying of the, but there you have it. And fours talk about our foundation. And so that time may have been really laying a foundation for something else. Like, for example, if you were at work and you never got promoted, you may have been actually like getting, like, having a lot of other experiences, or you're laying the groundwork. You may have even been like making relationships, or kind of saving your money, possibly with the Four of Pentacles, and kind of making yourself strong, so that when the opportunity did come where it was your time to kind of like take action, you would be in a better position to do that. Some of you may have taken that approach. But there is something very foundational about this time that you're coming out of. With the King of Cups clarifying the Lovers, this can also talk about, you do also have the King of Cups on the bottom of this deck, so it's a strong theme here. This may have been a time where you really learned how to process your own emotions, to work through things in a way that kept you very steady and solid. It may, some periods in life are very informational, like we're like getting a lot of information sort of even about ourselves, you know. It may not be a time of like profound change, but it is a time that is ripe with relationships that trigger us. You know, all these things in our life is kind of steady and stable to sort of be a kind of a reliable base for us to sort of weather those storms. And those storms are helping us to learn and understand ourselves, so that when life starts to pick up, you know, we'll still have to deal with people like that, but now we're in complete control of ourselves. Now we've kind of rewired ourselves to being someone who, you know, handles those things with ease. They don't even really, they're not even really a blip on the radar anymore, you know? And this can be, it's even in regard to relationships, of, intimate kinds of relationships with the Lovers and the King of Cups, where they are soulmates, but they are people who come into our life to teach us lessons that help us to really gain. I'm hesitating around this, because even though this thing keeps coming to me, it's like, it's not control over our emotions, but that's what's coming to me. It's more of like being able to positively engage in our emotions, like see where our emotions are a blessing for us, or a richness for us, or a wealth for us, without sort of being this hindrance to us. Does that make sense? I don't know. And so with the Lovers and the King of Cups, it's like, these are the relationships that prepare you for, the relationship. Or it doesn't even have to be the relationship. It can be like life. Oh, how do you say these things? A life where you're really a boss. I don't know, it's like you have this superpower of your emotions, and they're informing you, and they're telling you, trust this person, don't trust this person, this is for you, that's not for you, da 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 da, in real time, kind of quickly, without causing imbalance, unrest, dis-ease, discomfort. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like it is kind of like honing this special skill that you've always had into a superpower that, where you kind of have to, in order to make emotions your superpower, you have to feel a lot of things that suck sometimes, in order, it's like guiding you. And so in some ways it's like, okay, I just put my heart on the line without protecting myself, and this is what happened. So I learned I had to protect myself. Then I put my heart on the line and I protected myself, but I trusted the wrong person. And my intuition kept telling me not to trust this person, but I went ahead and did it anyway. And now I'm learning to listen to my feelings. It's this process of sort of like, through real-time experience, honing these skills, so that when you come into the period of time in your life where these things are going to really matter, or really propel you, or really be an asset to you, they're an asset instead of a hindrance, or instead of something you're still trying to work out how to utilize in a positive way. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, it feels as though you are sitting in a much more kind of empowered place as a result. And this is about having boundaries and protecting, like not letting everyone have access to your emotions. And also I'm getting like not be readable, like not letting your reaction be known, or your it's like giving me this vibe of like being semi-robotic, which I don't like. I don't know why this is coming up, and I'm not like a proponent of that necessarily, but it's like having a poker face is what it is. where it's like you're able to look at someone or hold someone's gaze or their whatever without them knowing what you're really feeling, which so it's almost, it's like it's giving me this vibe of like there may be people around you, or there may have been people around you who actually watched you to see how you reacted to certain information, which informed them how they wanted to sort of react, or informed them how, like, what your sensitivities were or whatever. And this Four of Pentacles is like giving me to where, you know, you have control over whether you allow someone to see your reaction or not. If that makes sense. I don't know what that is about. But anyway, there it is. And it is like, this is your superpower, and you're recognizing it's your superpower. And so you are cutting off access to anybody or any situation or anything that doesn't earn or deserve access, even in like backdoor and side door and ways that maybe we don't cognitively think about. And you may not actually even be aware that you're doing this, but I keep getting this vibe of like noticing that someone is looking at me for a reaction, and then choosing whether or not I'm going to give it to them, and even choosing whether or not I'm going to give it to them straight, like honestly. So I don't know what that is about, but then there is also just like letting people in or not, or keeping safe distance and boundaries for yourself here. And kind of realizing this is your choice, and that you can set the parameters for how you allow people to exist in your life. Even I'm getting like fine tuning and finesse kind of energy around this, where it's like, It's like even giving me like, instead of saying sorry I'm late, saying like thank you for being patient. Like it is even changing the way you say things, or like something around apologizing. You know, like maybe you were someone that apologized a lot, or you thought like, oh, it's just easier if I say I'm sorry. You're not doing this anymore. Instead, it's like you're choosing different words. There is something here about the way you are talking is changing. Okay, what is the Seven of Cups? You're being much more careful, much more choosy, much more deliberate, even with oh wow. With what, like, everything. I don't know. It's just showing me you are like up leveling. You are in a different like echelon. You have the Seven of Cups being clarified by the Queen of Cups, and now we have the Queen of Cups looking at the King of Cups. There is a major soulmate relationship coming in here, Pisces, for you. And it does feel very much like a lot of the last cycle you were in was sort of preparing you, I feel like, for this relationship, but also it feels like for this period of time, like I feel a lot of work energy here, or a lot of like career energy here. I don't know exactly what to say about that, but I feel that. Geez, I mean, seriously, when your cards come out like this, that is insane. We've just been talking about how many fours you had. We were just talking about the Four of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. Now you have the Four of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck again on a different deck, right? I'm clarifying the Tower here. And then you have the Four of Cups in reverse, which, like, fours. Yesterday was twos, and today are fours. And I did very strongly kind of get spring here. And now with that, all these fours, I just got like April. So with the Queen of Cups clarifying the Seven of Cups, you know, this is kind of giving me this vibe of really owning your power and really kind of saying, instead of saying like, what can I do for this situation? What can I bring to this situation to be useful? What do I have to offer here? You're kind of switching and looking at, what advantage does this have for me? What can this do for me? And this is a very big switch. You are also really seeing your own kind of like value and power, and kind of like, you I know I'm a queen. It is that queen mentality of kind of like, I deserve it, I'm worth it. There is this big switch that is happening. I felt it somewhere else in this reading as well, but it's kind of like me first. It was with the cycles energy right here. This is a major transformation and a major change of where you're kind of like, I know what I have to bring to the table. It's kind of like, there's a Buddhist quote that is something about like, listen more than you talk, because you already know what you know. You want to know what other people know. It's giving me that kind of vibe. It's like, instead of putting so much out there and giving so much, it's like being open to receiving and like looking at, can this offer me what I'm looking for, what I want? Can this match me? Can this meet me as deeply as I've met myself? Can this hold up to, can this compare to, like, it's about reciprocity. It's about equality. It's about kind of like, it's a major shift in mentality. It's just a major shift in mentality. And it really shifts, like, instead of you trying to fit in, or instead of you trying to advance yourself and not having any success, it is like things coming towards you, things wanting even to be close to you, people, relationships, situations. This happens suddenly. It feels as if there is some kind of breakthrough that happens mentally, and it changes everything. It shifts the whole thing on its head. You can see with the Four of Cups coming out in reverse here, clarifying this Tower, it's like, it's almost like understanding something about the universe that like you may have even known before, but you never had command over it, and now all of a sudden you have command over it. And so instead of feeling constantly like the universe is passing you by, or isn't really showing up for you, or no matter what you do, it just doesn't seem to work out. Now all of a sudden you're like, I'm working out regardless. It's just like, how and who do I determine is sort of worth it, or a reflection of what I think I'm bringing to the table, really, like that is exactly what it is. It's like, is this a reflection of my value? Is this a reflection of what, like, is what this person is offering me a reflection of what I know I am capable of bringing to the table? If it's less, then do I want to piddle around? And it's kind of like, you go to the slot machines in Las Vegas and they have like penny, nickel, quarter, or You know, I don't know. I'm just saying that. And you have a roll of quarters, but all the quarter slot machines are taken or something. And so you're like, okay, do I change my quarters into nickels and pennies and play those where I'm not going to get as big of a payout as I deserve? Or do I take my quarters and change them into dollars and go to the dollar slot machine and know that I might lose all $10? Isn't that how much is in a roll of quarters? I don't know. Really quickly. But if I hit the jackpot, it's going to be something that I deserve. You know what I mean? It's going to be representational of like that I deserve that I'm worth that. Or do I like want to like play small and play all day and never really get what I deserve? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like it's like boom. It's like switching. Something is switching there. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, okay. We're not waiting for happiness anymore. We're not saying, I'll be happy when this happens. I'm walking away from everything that is like that. I'm not saying, yes, I'm still going to hang out here at the penny slot machines or the nickel slot machines and just, you know, try to rack up these very small jackpots. It's kind of like my time is worth something. You know, the Seven of Pentacles is divine timing and patience and, you know, being, you know, waiting for it to, you know, what the seed you planted to harvest and be abundant. And this is kind of like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. This time we've spent already, you know, of, you know, things just not working out for us, you know, working really hard, trying to make killer decisions and do the right thing and da-da-da-da-da, and it didn't pay off. And so I'm kind of taking it into my own hands. I'm switching things up. I'm not waiting for happiness. I'm not telling myself, oh, it's okay to feel the way you feel right now because tomorrow, you know, maybe you'll hit the jackpot on the dollar machine and you'll be happy. No, it's like I'm actively going to the dollar slot and I'm playing it till I hit the jackpot. You know, I'm not saying it's okay to spend all this time being mediocrely happy or, you know, seeing the potential for me to be happy when I'm walking away from that stuff. I'm no longer allowing myself to just be a placeholder or you know, something here. I don't know what this is, but I see the moon playing a role in it again. And it's just like the moment this happens, and you know, please remember this is a tarot card reading, but once we make this decision, once we say, you know, I'm not going to be happy when, I'm going to be happy right now. You know, I am happy right now. And the things that don't contribute to my happiness, I don't have time and space for. I don't have, there's no, I'm walking away from them. I'm leaving them. You know, even if they make me somewhat happy, no, that's not enough for me anymore. I'm not taking almost only counts in in horseshoes and hand grenades. My opa used to say close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. And that's not what we're playing. You know, that's not what we're doing here. Oh my gosh, look at this. It is a breakthrough in thinking here. You have the High Priestess here with the Ten of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. You know, this is also knowing, like having a deep inner knowing within yourself that you are worth it, that you do deserve it, and that you can have it. It is also, I will say, finding happiness in the small moments, in the small things all the time. And, you know, when you are looking for those things, that is what you will find. And it is really saying, you know, this energy is looking for these things. with the Page of Swords and the High Priestess, there may be some like internet energy here. This could be like Googling or like AI or, you know, it is like giving me pursuing some kind of curiosity, some kind of interest. You know, this can be where you are actually trying to build like, you could be like starting a foundation or like could be a business, could even be like a healing business or a like tarot card reading or some kind of intuitive business. But it doesn't have to be. Your intuition like helps guide you no matter what kind of business you're doing or what kind of business you start. But this is kind of giving me where it is like there's a decision made to seek information about what you have a deep inner knowing will make you happy or that you are meant to do. And it is sort of like finding the time to start that, to do that, to invest in that. It could actually be money that you're investing, but this can also be like finding the time in your day to do that and being grateful for it, or, you know, feeling like it is adding up, like you're starting to do something toward a goal. Like it's starting to amount to something, or that you can see where it could amount to something. But it's like allowing yourself to be intuitively led, like, and even, I keep getting the internet with the Page of Swords. So it could be like, you're wondering, what does it take to start an LLC or something, okay? And so you go on the internet and you Google, what does it start to take to start an LLC? And then that leads you to these answers. And then when you're finding these answers, there are 3 or 4 different ways that it could go from there. And you kind of allow your intuition to sort of guide you on your path, and it takes you to your own unique place. Like, not everyone that follows that path is going to end up there. They're going to make different decisions along the way that take them somewhere else. Like, there's something about trusting the path that you feel guided to take. Like, there's a reward for listening to your intuition, even in an informational gathering phase, okay? The moon like fell out at the last second. The unknown that we've been talking about. The universe is offering you a solid and stable new beginning here, Pisces. And this is happening relatively quickly, I do feel. For some of you, you're changing locations. It could be at work or it could be where you live. With the 4 of Wands, this is like a fresh start. With the Strength card on the bottom of the deck, this may require you to like overcome some lower vibrational tendencies you have. Could be kind of like talking yourself out of things, or worrying that you're not enough, that it's not enough, that it won't work out. A very profound moment is coming with the Ace of Pentacles and the 4 of Wands and the Strength card. This is, and it is representational of all you have kind of overcome. It is not showing up by chance. I do think it is the right time. But I also think that it is because you are sort of telling the universe, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not just going with the flow and being patient and saying, well, someday it'll work out. I'm kind of taking things in my own hands. I'm shifting the energy. I'm taking my power back. I'm looking at things differently. I'm taking action steps toward something, toward my greater goal. And the universe is like, okay, wow. Well, you woke up from your slumber. Okay, wow. You're not going to accept the crumbs that we're giving you. Okay, wow. Here you go. Here you go. See what you can do with this. Here's your jackpot. There you go. Now, what are you going to do with it? And, with the Four of Wands, this is an energy of something that you have been manifesting. With the Four of Wands and the Strength card, for a lot of you, this could be a soulmate relationship that has a lot of potential. That really could be, something that actually ends up in marriage, especially with the Sun, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands right there. Those are very strongly positive energies. Rumi says, don't wait for the way to appear. Instead, the way will find you once you take the first step. And that's really what feels like is happening here. It's like you take the first step and the universe is like, okay, and responds. There's a lot happening here, Pisces. A lot more than I could possibly say in an hour-long reading or whatever, however long this is. Your life is changing quickly after this, Pisces. You have the Temperance being clarified by the Star and the Hierophant. When we started off this reading and it was like, no matter what you do, things just aren't working out for you. Well, this is the opposite of that. No matter what you do, things are working out for you. And, with the Temperance here, it is a reminder that, in order to bake a cake, it takes you got to mix the dry ingredients where nothing much fun is happening, right? I whenever I'm baking a cake and I got to mix my flour and my baking powder and my salt and whatever is in there, cocoa powder, whatever. I'm like, wow, this is pretty boring. I mean, cocoa powder is kind of exciting, but the rest of it, it's like, But then once you start, you get the KitchenAid out and you're putting your eggs in and you're putting the wet ingredients, the sugar, the vanilla flavoring, it starts to smell good. It's making the sound. Everything is happening. It's pretty jivey and exciting. But you need those dry ingredients mixed, and you need to put them in, with the wet ingredients in order to have the whole cake. And it's kind of giving me you've been in this spin cycle of the dry ingredients, and now you're doing the wet ingredients, and you're going to be putting it together, and you're going to come out with a cake here, Pisces, and it's going to be pretty okay. You're going to be pretty into it. I feel like the Temperance and the Star card and the Hierophant, these are... we don't just grow from our suffering. We also have the capacity to learn from the good things that happen in our life. And that's what this feels like. It's like, okay, you've learned a lot from the suffering. Now it's time to experience something different. And then we kind of put it together, and then you have a life. You have the whole thing. It's neither good nor bad. It's everything. It is what it is, and it is, rich. It is what you created with your ingredients. Like, which recipe did you pick? Are you making a chocolate cake? Are you making a spice cake? Are you making a yellow cake? Are you making funfetti? Like, what are we doing here? And it's kind of like now you get to sort of start to begin to see the result of your labor. Especially like I'm strongly affected by the Three of Swords in reverse next to this Temperance energy. When you have Temperance in the Star card, this is these are both energies very strongly associated with healing. And we can sort of say, okay, I'm hurting. Like I went through this and it was hard, and I tell my story and I identify with it, and it's my narrative, and like, and this is why I am the way I am. This is why I am where I am. This is why, because of this and that and da 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 da. And with the Star card and the Temperance, it's kind of, it feels like just taking off that robe and saying, I don't need that anymore. That actually isn't my story anymore. Like, we see good things start to happen here. And then we see this kind of like, it's time to kind of let go of for whatever reason. It's giving me the Five of Cups. And you know how he has the robe around him and he's like looking down and he's looking at all the things that kind of didn't work out for him. And then it's very strongly giving me the visual of him like sort of turning around and taking the coat off, the robe off, and being like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need the heaviness anymore. I don't need the, I wish it would have gone this way, or I'm focused on how it didn't go this way, or I regret that I made this choice, or I regret this decision, or why wasn't this happen? Like, why does it happen for other people and it doesn't happen for me? It's like, just taking it off. We don't need it anymore. We are that person now. We are the one who it's all working out for. This is our moment where we're mixing our wet ingredients. I don't know where I get this shit. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, that isn't who I am anymore. I don't need to hold on to that. I don't need to wear that robe anymore. I can like step out. And like, honestly, literally, the Star card is, disrobed. Even, I've never looked at this card and thought that, but see how she's just like letting this go? She doesn't need it. And she's focused on the abundance, the well where all the water is. She's just like, I have so much. I don't need this anymore. And so it's like, it's kind of like, my world doesn't look like that anymore. Or I can see the world where it doesn't look like that anymore. I don't need that anymore. I'm done with that. I can just pour that out over here. I can just take that robe off and I can just pour that water out. I got all this over here. And, with the Three of Swords in reverse, it's like, it's not that I'm not suffering anymore. It's that I'm not talking to myself about it anymore. I'm not rehashing it. I'm not replaying the narrative. I'm not forcing myself not to think about it either. It just isn't, it's a non-entity in my life. It just, that was then, this is now, and I know life isn't that easy, and I know, we take a lot of stuff with us, but I also know just from my own experience that we can really set ourselves free from our narrative. We can we can create something in our life that is so beautiful and so rich and so abundant that we can leave behind every time we were jilted, every time it didn't work out, every time we got gypped, every time life wasn't fair. We truly can. It becomes unimportant because our life is so great, where it is. And a lot of that does come from having the eyes to see it. If you want to see all the ways in which your life would have been better if it would have gone another way, that's exactly what you're going to see. But if you want to see all the ways in which your life is expanded and beautiful and rich and abundant, because it worked out the way that it did, then that's what you're going to see. And it does feel very much, Pisces, like, life is sort of creating a picture here with you that it's like you can't not see it. It's kind of everywhere. And it does feel like it kind of starts with this like mental shift, and sort of it feels like it happens here with the Queen of Cups and the Seven of Cups energy. And then it really takes hold. It gets roots and it starts growing. And then it's like you kind of get to this place where you're like, oh, I guess that was part of my life at some point, but like, you know what I mean? You just don't, it just is kind of irrelevant. It just sort of doesn't even matter. Because it's like your wishes are coming true and you have spiritually ascended beyond caring about that or beyond needing it to be anything other than it was. You're just not telling yourself stories about it anymore. You just don't care. It's just irrelevant. It just doesn't matter anymore. You're not fighting with it. You're not anything. How did the moon end up next to the sun? I have no idea. Yeah. See, the Three of Swords in reverse is being clarified by the Two of Pentacles. And this our choices reflect so many things, our unhealed wounds especially. And also when we maintain this narrative of, life just really hasn't been fair for me, and like I made really stellar decisions and they just never panned out, and like I brought all of this amazing energy to my friendships, to my relationships, to my job, to my this, to my that, and it never rewarded me, it never showed up, it never, gave me this, it never gave me that. When we hold on to these narratives and we hold on to these things, not only are we suffering much more than we need to, right? Because the suffering is over. That already happened. It's done. You don't need to continue to suffer for it. The reason we continue to suffer is because as human beings, we continue to tell ourselves the story. We replay the event over and over again in our head. When we're not being mindfully aware, like that's what creeps in. It just does. That's just how we're wired for whatever reason. And a lot of times we'll let it unpack and stay there. We'll mull it around. We'll look at it again. We'll say, why did that happen? Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? We'll let it affect us all over again. Well, that kind of energy affects the decisions that we make and kind of can sort of keep us in that cycle of that continuing to happen to us. And so with the Three of Swords coming out in reverse with this Two of Pentacles, it's saying like you're not weighing this good like life with this old bad life anymore. You're not like kind of almost keeping yourself in check, or being afraid to be hopeful, or being afraid to be optimistic because you don't think it'll last, or because you've also experienced where it doesn't work out. Like you're not doing that anymore. You have released it. There's nothing to balance out. There's nothing to weigh back and forth. There's nothing to make you feel imbalanced. There's nothing to make you go backwards. There's nothing to like even sort of call that energy into your life. Because with the Queen of Swords, there's this energy of like, yeah, so I lived through the entire sword cycle. So I've been heartbroken, I've been betrayed, I've been backstabbed, I've been deceived, I've seen it all. I've been through it all. You know, but instead of letting it make me bitter, and instead of letting it dictate to me my present and my future, I've cut it off. I've released it. I know that it no longer serves me. I also know that what I got from it is the power of discernment. And so I'm not going to fall for the same stuff again. I'm not going to make those same choices again. I see things very clearly now. I've risen above the confusion that was created there in that space, and I'm seeing things for what they are, and I'm kind of a lean, mean fighting machine. I don't go back and forth on my decisions. I know exactly what I want. You know, I will listen to anything. I'm open to whatever may come, but I have the wisdom and the knowledge to know what is for me and what isn't for me, and I rest in that space. That is what is important. That is what has taken over. It's not that I've never suffered or that life was never unfair to me. It's that through it all, I chose to find the lesson. I chose to find the light, and I had the strength and the wisdom to release the suffering and to release all the stories that I told myself about it that were keeping me unbalanced and sort of like maybe needing to choose fear sometimes. Okay. Then we have this 9 of Pentacles that we end our reading with the King of Cups. And I kind of feel, Pisces, like at some point in this reading, I feel you are definitely meeting someone. Wow. Okay. It comes in out of nowhere. You have the Tower and the 3 of Cups in reverse with the King of Pentacles clarifying this 9 of Pentacles. I feel almost absolutely a lot of you are headed toward a relationship that has long-term stability, potentially marriage. You know, Pisces, the 9 of Wands shows up here. We're clarifying the Tower. And, you know, the 9 of Wands here, it is giving me this vibe of like, I never gave up. I kind of always stayed true to what I wanted the whole time, and I never gave up. It's also with these past energies, the 3 of Cups in reverse and the 6 of Cups here. It's giving me a vibe of like, accepting life on life's terms. You know, with the 6 of Cups upright, it's saying, you know, I can hold this nostalgic place for my past. I can look back and I can sort of hold on to the sweet things, the good things, the fun memories, you know, the times where I felt closeness, connection, friendship, you know, I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt important. You know, I can sort of hold on to those things. This might even literally be even sort of making a decision about, you know, friendships or people or whatever that go with you into the next phase of your life, because it is giving me, it's like, the 3 of Cups are like your good time people. They're not the people that are going to bail you out of jail or, you know, sit beside you as you watch your parent die from cancer or something like that. They're the people that you call when you want to have fun. And the 6 of Cups, these are true relationships. These are soulmates. These are people who understand you, who know you, who you call them and you say hello and they're like, what's wrong? And you're like, how did you know? All I said was hello. And they're like, I can just tell. Those are those people. And so there's kind of this energy of, and it could be where you're moving forward into this direction, or like, in other words, what I'm saying is where the relationships that you allow into your life are not necessarily just like fun time people, or people where you're like, oh, we get along, or we have things in common, or this or that. It's like people who have a sixth sense for you. You know, people who, because I feel like you have a sixth sense for other people. You know, there's just this energy of proceeding on only with like kind of meaningful relationships. And with the Queen of Wands there, with the Six of Cups, it's sort of like calling into your life these kinds of friendships and relationships. I don't even know if you can see this, but you know, like, I'm ready to receive meaningful things, not fleeting things, not things that sort of look good on Instagram but don't really show up at the end of the day, or whatever it is. You know, I'm just saying that. It's like, it is almost like really understanding your own energy and how much you have to give, and saying, I'm only going to give into these spaces. I'm not going to, it can even be where like even socializing is a draining thing for you. Maybe you're a bit of an introvert, or maybe it's really hard for you to kind of exist in spaces without allowing yourself to feel for people or feel for things, like have compassion. And so it's like, I don't want to waste my energy in spaces and on people who don't sort of respond to that, are not in harmony with that, are not reciprocal with that, are not also the same way. It's like, I just don't have energy for it anymore. Like, I'm very clear about what I want and about what works out for me. And with the Nine of Pentacles, underneath the foundation of it is really this knowledge of like, yeah, I'm good on my own. You know, I'm not going to have a friend just to have a friend. I'm going to have a friend because it makes my life a better place. You know, I'm not going to be in a relationship with someone because I need that type of validation. I'm going to be in a relationship with someone because it fills me up. You know, I'm learning about myself in the process. You know, I haven't held on this long. I haven't gone through everything that I've gone through and kind of kept myself in an energy where I still want this to kind of fall into the same trap, or to sort of mess around with the same old type of energy. It's like, it's going to be the real thing. It's going to be something that enriches my life, or it's not going to be in my life. Like, I only deal in that currency now. I don't deal in a currency of like, well, maybe we're going to build this into something else, or maybe this person's going to change, or maybe this company is going to finally see my worth. Maybe I'll get a new person here. Maybe this, maybe that. No, it's like, it's kind of like, I am protective of myself. I've worked hard to kind of get where I am and to sort of get through it without letting it kill me, you know, without letting it do me in, or really make me so I can't open up again to anything. You know, I've protected myself, and I'm going to protect myself now in a way in which it's like, only something meaningful do I have space or time for in my life. And with that breakthrough, I feel like comes in someone who can match your energy, someone who can process their own emotions, someone who feels equally as kind of protective of their own feelings as you do. And this is someone who is capable of meeting you as deeply as you've met yourself. It does feel like your pair, like your person. Yeah, and with the King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, they have very serious intentions. They can put their money where their mouth is. They are a committer. They are reliable. A lot of pentacles in this reading. A lot of pentacles in this reading. All right, let me get you guys some messages. If you're dealing with a water sign, you're getting passion, angry, and regret. Wow, one-word answers. If you are dealing with a fire sign, you're getting twin flames, controlling, and we will be together again. Someone may need to work through their pride and their ego, fire sign. If you are dealing with an earth sign, you had, I am choosing you, I can't walk away, and your words speak to me like no others can. And if you are dealing with an air sign, you're getting annoyed. You give me so much to look forward to. I regret how I handled things before, and I am making plans. All right, guys, this is what I have for you. I hope it helps. I hope it brings you some peace and clarity. If it does, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I do love to hear from you. I looked up and it's 1:11 on the clock. So anyway, guys, all my best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.